Hey there. Guess who? Yes, it's Al, and this it would be tutorial number 149. Turns out that the end of the world didn't happen, so I decided I might as well press on with this project. You know, oh yeah, of course, that's broken. I don't know if this will work. Now I've decided on a general way to do it, to deal with this. Sometimes you need to do it twice. There we go. Now I don't know if this is going to compile. No, I just added a bunch of stuff. But as it is, it shouldn't have any impact. I'm not using it. See, now there's this problem. Oh, yeah, okay. There's this problem. I'm going to show you in a second what the problem is. Once this compiles, and I don't need this program to show it. Well, one other thing. What led to this? Well, there are two things I guess I have to say. First, I have to eat breakfast. But before I go to eat breakfast, I'll get this out of the way first. Now, once again, I had to go back to this crazy line with everything happening at once, because I realized that there's another possibility of error. Before I had two cases. One was if not full path and not, if it wasn't a relative directory and it wasn't a valid relative directory, then I chose the current directory. Else, and then I handled only one of the other cases, really. The other case that's possible is a relative directory specified that's invalid. That is, it could be / hello there, my file. Now, whether or not the open file dialog program will return a string, that's what we're passing in, right? And the thing that I'm trying to avoid, is to have that dialog wind up in the root, as it will do if you pass in an invalid current directory. And I wasn't handling that case of an invalid relative path. Now I could have split that up into more cases and make it even longer, but doing it, unfortunately, doing all this stuff in one line has the same effect, but it's just harder to see. See, you got to first, okay. Oh yeah. God knows, maybe. I just tried to play macro. Oh, it worked. Now, what was I saying? Yes. if you fully qualify, this thing doesn't care if the path exists or not. It's just going to return to you a fully qualified and cleaned up full path that corresponds to this, whether it's a relative path or not. Right? If it's not a relative path, then you just get back what you already had. Then I extract the directory, and now that takes care of relative invalid directory. So if not directory of fully qualified path for the file, minus the file name and extension. If that directory is invalid, then I use the current directory. Now, unfortunately, that means that it's a lot of stuff is happening on one single line. But otherwise, it has to be a huge mess. I'd have to just get the directory up first, and then just go by cases. Whereas this does it all in one line, and it's not that hard to read. Get the directory out from stir file, which is set equal to this, and we know because we read the ISO manual, the $1 million manual, that this will have been resolved before the function call. So this assignment is perfectly fine. Now I'm doing extract directory so many times. And I had another one down here for this value. So I decided to sneak that assignment into this into this call to set current directory, just to cut down on the use of extract directory. I mean, I called it enough times. What, 12 times by this time? I need to assign this to that. And I'm calling this function, and why not assign it, before, while I'm doing this, like I might as well get this done too. It's kind of like killing birds with stones. Okay. Now, here's what happened. I get up this morning, and I go to my, maybe this will be a video, prologue. I go to respond to an email, and I was going to put in one of my fancy paths using my text encryptor thing here, right? And I have not really comment. So I can copy paths in here. Right. And these things you can post in a comment, even though they can't be used for linking to something. Someone can read it and understand and type it in manually. But it turns out that I've seen several times where it's just sending a message, an internal private message to someone that contained an external path. Sometimes the messages don't go through. I went to run this, and I'm going to pause this, and I'm going to show you what happened, what I got. Okay, just so you didn't see what caused it. I run my batch file, and I get this. Actually, I didn't even get that, because my batch file has changed. I think I tried that. I think I had that. No, I didn't have that. It must have been what I had. And it just I get this. But I thought I had an error message too. I had an error message too. for some reason. That could be because of the way I just did it now. Okay, and I'm thinking, all right, well, where is, I know it's there, and I try dir, and I thought this was my utils path. Okay, so I've forgotten about that. And then I did dir. Everything's fine. And then I'm thinking, this is weird. Okay, so I run Notepad. Yeah, Notepad's working okay. I go like this, and I'm like, now wait a minute. Why is this starting out in the documents directory? And then I go click here, and this folder is empty. What's going on here? This is empty, and the text encryptor won't run. The batch file. And then I type file find text encryptor, something like that. Not found in path. And let's see what else. Another thing, I tried something else. And it appeared as though it was in like a half state, like the path had been virtualized. Maybe I had a virus or something. Let's see now, what did I try? Oh yeah, I tried the dir util. I ran this, and I got a weird message. I thought, okay, well, let's see what happens if I run it from here. Not enough storage to process the command. What the? Yeah, and the other one said, and notice this is blank too. And the other one said, there's an extra message that I know why it's disappearing now, because I had also forgotten that I had commented all this stuff away. This is faster. Okay, so imagine that this is what I'm seeing. Now, I had done that thing either because of this or for some other reason. Then I try my batch file. Oh no, it's not doing it. But I got a weird message. Anyway, obviously something's going on and it's weird. And I did dir of I did set you, okay, there. No, actually, I would have noticed then at this point. I was just doing set path, and to see what the path is, or path. See if it's in the path. There it is, util. And I run Notepad again, and that works, and that uses the same thing. I thought maybe the environment was using the wrong environment. And again, open, and it's in docs for some reason, right? Like why is it not here? So at least where I started Notepad. And oh yeah, that's right. I did this. And that seemed to work, and then I do open. But if that worked, how come I'm here in this docs directory? forgetting that Notepad remembers the last place I opened. I go to temps, fine, and utils is missing all the files. So then I did a system restore. Thinking, okay, something terrible's gone wrong. System restore had only one restore point from 2014. But then I clicked the more restore points. I went back 2 days. I know it used to work 2 days ago, and it still wasn't working. And then I finally realized the reason why I got all messed up here. If only it had said star.txt here, then I would have realized, oh, right. There's nothing wrong with this directory. It's just that I'm only looking at text files. So therefore, I realized that information, although it's there, oh, and the reason, because this was another thing I tried. And I can see it there, right? The program's there. I went to the utils directory. I could run it from there. The reason why it's failing. Finally, while in the 2 days ago state, I did. Oh, but wait a minute. What if there's something else called text encryptor? And so first I tried that, and there it is. I had marked it. I had marked the directory text encryptor, so it's running. When I'm trying to start it, it's starting, and the thing that it's starting is a batch file. Not for some reason the order of search starts with batch files and then exes. So unmark. And now my thing works again. So then I resume. So that tells me that it's critical to put that extra text, even especially if it has wildcards, into the little text area. Because I ended up wasting an hour trying to find it, thinking that something happened to my computer. But anyway, first let me just show you something. See? So now I've got this little control here, just like Notepad has. And theirs seems to look nicer than mine, but whatever. Yeah, and I don't like this view either. But I can't change it, can I? I don't want these things in here. But anyway. I might add always the star.star. I can do that in the program, add star.star. But if it said star.star here and I'm not seeing the directory, no problem. If I go to utils, right? Oops, not about that utils. These utils, right? I might have realized if I'd run this program anyway. But when the fact that this is empty and was in Notepad's open dialog, and yet I could find it with Explorer. It appeared in Explorer. which was also another weird thing. How come it's showing up in Explorer? Oh, right. And then in here, I went open. That wasn't on that. It must have been Notepad. Because I'd done a system restore, I thought, oh, maybe that system restore too is messed up. And I thought, okay, well, all right. Well, what about what's in pictures here? How about my icons? I'm like, what? All my icons are gone, and all my more icons are gone. Everything's disappeared, and those were linked files. Still not realizing that it's fully, in my face indicated that I'm only looking for text files. I didn't realize. Then I reverted, either before or after I figured it out. No, I think it was after I figured it out. Now my idea is this. Now I added, all I did to add that resource to the dialog. It's very simple. It's trivial, in fact. Is I just edited this file, right? I'll make a copy of it. Actually, I have a copy of it. 10. I went I loaded the file up, right? And you can still edit it and add things. I added this thing here. Actually I set this to 1002. Right? And then just Control S, save. Save. First check it out, and I've had the extra thing, and I fiddled around with the positioning to make it look almost right. And that's it, right? However, some programs don't use encoding, so I don't want to use this one all the time. So therefore, what I need is I can add more and more. I could add another dialog to this open file name custom resource, right? And then choose whichever choose by identifier. This dialog identifier is 101. And oh no, sorry, 1024. I'll add another 1025 that only has this bit like before, or I could have nothing, and so on and so forth. But how is the user of the functions going to specify all these things? Well, now I got to start adding up flags, right? And then how is the data going to come back? Then I got to, I've got to pass a structure back and so on. Then I realized that there's nothing to this problem. And I've used this trick before. To do whenever you have something that is passing a string to something, a function that's passed a string, you don't need any of these things, right? What you do is in the string that you pass in, right? You just pass in all of your parameters and flags in a structure that's based on some kind of string, a header to the string that you pass in. So I randomly generate a unique identifier that nobody would have possibly typed in as a part of a file name. And of course you wouldn't have to type this, it'll be defined. And then following that, a semicolon delimited list of flags and specifiers, right? And then the file name, the default file name, and the rest of the logic is the same. So here I have these. I'm starting to do it now. Do I want to encode? Do I want the encoding combo box, or do I want the remember thing? Right. Each time taking the next chunk out of the header of the string, and for the return value, the person using this function will know that the result of the operation, if these flags were specified, will be in a special format at the head of the return value. So at the head, what I will do here, if the result is successful, if there were any flags, then I'll put in square brackets. I guess then I can use my unbrace. In square brackets, the results of the specified flag. So, for instance, the encoding, the returned string, if there's a success, might look like it should be either in a specific order or in the order given. ANSI on for remember or something, right? The checkbox. I suppose I specified I want encoding and remember, the remember thing. I could say remember or don't remember, something like that. And then the rest of the result. And that way now you can just get rid of all of this stuff. Right? Title, filter, well, you could put the filter in here, right? Why not? Filter equals, and that'll force me to get into the habit of putting the filter in. But anyway, for now, I'll just add the two things. And if neither of those things are specified, you'll just get a regular box with no extras. So you can have the extras or not have the extras, and choose which extras you want, all based on the header of this string. That's my idea, and I'm going to try and implement it. But first I gotta eat breakfast. Okay, see you. I just, if you noticed a glitch there, I just returned from my breakfast, and this is going to turn into a tutorial in itself. Well, for one thing, my telephone will remind me in a few minutes that I have something to add. I forget what that was, but anyway, this here is, you'll notice virtual depth. It's hard to tell because this thing is the same size as my screen. Okay, now I ran this program to do a conversion of to take the AVI file that went with the last segment and just flatten the audio so that it's constant bit rate audio. Then I can glue them together. But the weird thing is, look at this icon. Now, I know I changed the icon of the link to that, right? But why is it picking it up? I mean, here, this program is this. See? That's what this link is. It doesn't have any bubbles on here. Another mystery about this taskbar. This taskbar is a mysterious beast. Now, the reason why I keep hiding this thing, see, I almost selected that again, is because it looks too much like Chrome. And if I click on it, it stops the recording. So I got to put it here. And therefore, when I click on this, I don't end up interrupting the recording by accident. But I can't change the icon of this thing. It won't, and you know, I tried changing the icon of Chrome, and that didn't work. But maybe, no, I changed it even on the desktop to one thing and OIC, probably because one uses a specific icon either from the executable, and another might take an icon out of a resource of some other sort. That could be it. In any case, the thing that I was going to be reminded of, oh yes, what I just said, and I could have cut it out of that other recording, but I might as well say it here. I said, and it searches the and it runs the executable before the batch file or something. When you have two things with the same name, so now if I type notepad, oh, that worked. Now that worked. Yes, of course. Now see, in this case, it didn't find the batch. There is a notepad.bat. And there's also a notepad.exe. But in this case, it took the exe first. Now why do you suppose that is? I'll give you about 3 seconds to figure it out, which is about how long it should take. It's because of the path. Now, this is something about getting your. This is a good lesson to learn about. Actually, Hal shall one say, getting your priorities straight. Okay. The priority. Is it C? Commdlg? No. C. Path X. This is the priority of execution of files of various types. Okay. So, in theory, if an executable precedes a batch, it shall be executed, and my troubles would not have occurred if that were true. However, there are two lists here, right? And whether or not the exe version of something will be found before the batch version depends on in which order the search is done. That is, should we search the path, give the path priority. That is, first we go to path A, and then we search through all these extensions. Then we go to path B, search through the extensions, and so on. Or should we give the extensions priority? That is, we're searching all these different paths for a com file that matches. Then we go to exe and search all these various paths. Now, in terms of the speed of the search, okay, and this is probably why they did it wrong. Clearly, it's much slower, right, to do it the second one, because you go to this directory. This type of object, and go searching through all these directories for a match, right? And that's a pretty long. Searching through all the directories is a long process, and going through the list. In terms of actual computing time, and it's more likely that the search is going to be longer, right? It's pretty unlikely that a COM file with a given name is going to exist at all. So therefore, on anything you type, it's going to go and search every single directory most of the time. Whereas if you do it the other way around, right, and search the directories first, you're going to hit the exe on your first run, right? So it's very much faster to do it that way. However, this is a modern system, and in a modern system, everything is put into a cache. That is, by the time you've searched through all these paths, the first time on the first thing, the column, everything, all of the information necessary for the next search will be in immediate, that is, not immediate, but RAM, hardware memory, right? It won't touch the disk on the next search or the next or any of these other searches. Only on the first search will it touch the disk. Then it's true. There will be some a little noticeable slowdown due to the fact that it's got to actually access each of these directories. However, once again, that's where the caching saves you. Because during this search, you'll notice a lot of these paths start with program files, right? By the time you've gone through, let's see, this one, right? The system will have cached at least the directory names leading up to here. All of the ones preceding it will be in memory. All the directory names, folders, and the information about those folders. So this next search will be much faster. Zero time. This one might take 10 to the minus 12 seconds. Okay, now here we might be into 10 to the minus 3, 10 to the minus 4 seconds, and so on. Okay, so we might be losing up to 1,000th of a second, maybe, on each run. I know that's a lot of precious time. But if you do it the other way around, then you won't get the bug. So it's a question of, do you want that bug, or do you want to lose 1,000th of a second? Of course, only on the first time you ever run a program. The next time you want to run a program, this will all still be in memory, all these directories and their listings and everything. So the next run, it'll only be 1,000th of a second the very first time you ever run a program on the command line. Overall, you will lose in your entire life maybe definitely less than a second. 100th of a second maybe lost from your lifetime. But I lost a lot more than that during the system restore and everything. And by the way, I remembered also why I was running Notepad in the first place. That was because I thought, well, maybe the config ini wasn't in the temp directory, and I tried to open config ini I was confused about the docs, and when I went to utils, I saw that it was empty. Then there was no config.ini, which is that program happens to have an ini file it uses for its encrypting. Somewhere in here. It's before T. Here. See, it just takes this. These are different. This looks like an A and this looks like an A, but none of these are the same. The program asserts it. Would assert on me in debug mode if there happened to be one thing set equal to itself. Because I have to put that assert in because it's hard to tell with many fonts, especially this one. This one is meant to look exactly like real text with no image difference. That way you can type text and send a message to someone, but it can't be deciphered by any electronic means. Okay, so actually why don't I just leave that as a preamble into the next video, which we'll discuss, and then we'll also have a look at our Natty, who I sent this to her Google Plus account. Okay, she's got one, and when I went to my Google Plus, it has this step where it says searching for a friend's match, and Natty Chabanenko came up first, number 1 on the list. So I went to her page, and there is such a Google Plus page. I don't know if she ever uses it. It doesn't seem very popular. It's only got 19 friends. But it certainly looks like her. Very exactly the same almost. That could be somebody just made that account and used her image, which is obviously widely available. But probably not. Just like any other young girl, I'm sure she's bored out of her skull and looking for things to do. And one of those things is to get into social networking. Okay, so next one will be on those changes. I removed one of these ones, this one I think, said /ref3, and I was going to use this as a reference for that particular function, save open user save file, but since that function's not completed yet, it's not a very good reference. But I will be adding stuff to the reference list, or and maybe I'll use this kind of format where I'll just put the icon, I'll put the function name, say if it's ts string dots, colon stir cat or something, and then I can just make very short, 10-minute or less videos describing the particular functions. And there are many that I've added in between the videos. A great big list. If you want to see the entire list, kind of difficult on this screen. I don't like that it does that. I don't know why. I mean, I moved everything, I know that, but it seems to be retaining something. TS string. Here. See, now these are internal things. This is just a constructor list. There's already quite a lot there. The various additions and assignment. Now I don't know if this doesn't belong here. It should be further down. I don't know why. And so a lot of these are repeats. Like one in one style and one in another style, all lowercase or capitalized things. And so now we've got them mixed up. So there, you can see that there's a lot. Some of them are obviously very similar or based on another. All this does is call this one, but allow you to not have to do the step of turning a single character into a string. And so there's quite a few. They're all easy to understand. These ones are visible. You can see how those work immediately. The naming, I hope it's clear enough. And then, well, it's not that big a list, so I might be able to do 2 or maybe 2 or 3 functions per video, and and then there'll be a reference to those, and at least a list, so you can understand more easily what I'm doing. Okay, now I'm going to start on the next one while this is uploading.